Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I know the music just went off kind of abruptly. Or maybe I only heard it on my side. But anyway, the New York Knicks take on the Dallas Mavericks tonight at 7:30 p.m. on NBA TV. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Knicks signing Norvel Pelle to a 10-day contract. What your thoughts are there. So let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel, please. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. And I want to let you know, today at 5:30 p.m., you're going to get to see the premiere of the director's cut of a Booking.com commercial that I participated in, Tony Crow participated in, whose Mark was there, Chester was there. It's going to be dope. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to swing you on over to that commercial so you can check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It is the director's cut. It's not the full thing. It's the director's cut. Booking.com still has to put out the official advertisement. I guess it's going to be on their YouTube page. I don't know what the entire series really is going to be about. I just know part of it is about NYC basketball. So it's pretty dope. So let's talk, man. Let's talk about this. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I got Nate in the building. Pretty sure we're going to have some other people in the building to talk New York Knicks basketball. But I want to talk about Norvel Pelle. The Knicks signed him to a 10-day contract. Nate, what are your thoughts on this guy and why the Knicks only signed him to a 10-day contract? I have my ideas why. I want to know what you think about it. So let me cut the music down, and then I'll get you up there with your opinion, Nate. Go ahead, man. Let's talk about it. Norvel Pelle, the Knicks just signed this man to a 10-day contract. What's your thoughts on it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks are kind of targeting him earlier in the week, I think. He's a big body. I think he's like 7 foot or something like that. He played with the Sixers. What I do remember from him is when Embiid got hurt, he didn't play too bad. I mean, he stepped in for Embiid at times and played decently. He's a rim body. He's like, a guy that's gonna be right at the rim. I don't think he really has a shot. He's not really a shot blocker either. So he's just kind of. He's okay. Yeah, he's okay.
Say they would have brought in a DeMarcus Cousins, right? If you're bringing a guy like him, and again, let me go back and let me repeat what I just said about Norvel Pelle because I think I was muted, right? For the Brooklyn Nets this season, he played 3 games for the Nets this season. He averaged 1 block per game. Didn't get a lot of minutes. He played 9 minutes per game. Averaged about 2 points, 2.3 rebounds, averaged 1 block a game, like I just said. Last season for the Philadelphia 76ers, he averaged 2.4 points per game. He averaged 3 rebounds. He averaged 1.3 blocks per game. He only played 9.7 minutes per game. He played 24 games with the Philadelphia 76ers last season. Okay? And so the Knicks, to me, looked at Norvel Pelle as, they say, hey, he's like a Nerlens Noel. He's like a Mitchell Robinson, right? So he does a lot of the same things that those guys do. And it makes sense because the Knicks, we're 3/4 of the way through the season. It does not make, if you're bringing a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, right, then DeMarcus Cousins is going to, you're going to have to change your game just a little bit. right? To say, well, you know what, this guy can do this, he can do that, he can score the ball. If we're gonna get DeMarcus Cousins, we got to utilize him and what he does. So I think to make the transition easier, the Knicks just said, hey, we're gonna focus on guys. We're gonna look at guys in this buyout market that can do what we're doing right now. So it's easy for them to fill in that spot. So the Knicks signed Norvel Pelle to a 10-day contract. The reason why I believe they signed him to a 10-day contract and not longer is because we still have 7 days. We have about a week until teams, we have a week left in this buyout market, right? So by April 9th, teams have to, players have to be bought out by April 9th in order to be eligible for the playoffs. So when we get closer to that day, next Friday, which is April 9th, so next week you'll start seeing more people bought out, right? When we get to Wednesday, Thursday, I think you'll see more people bought out. And I think the Knicks want to keep their options available to look at those guys, right? Right now, Kelly Olynyk, he's in Houston and he's playing. But hey, who knows? Maybe there's a turn of events and he says, I want to be bought out. Or they decide they want to buy him out. Who knows? Right? There may be some other guys that are on the market and get bought out. So I think that's the reason why they say, hey, we'll do a 10-day contract with this guy. See who else gets bought out, hits the market. And, if we like what he does, nobody else gets bought out. No one we're interested in, then we'll rock with him. If not, or if someone does get bought out, someone that we're interested in, then, we'll move on to that guy there. So I think that's the purpose behind only signing him for 10 days right now. And I think he won't be available tonight, but he'll probably be available tomorrow versus the Detroit Pistons. So we'll see how that entire thing works out. Again, the Knicks signed Norvel Pelle to a 10-day contract. Right. And I think once this 10-day contract is up, if there's nobody else that the Knicks are looking to buy out, then, they might make that, I don't want to say permanent, but for the remainder of the season. So look out for this guy to join us maybe tomorrow night. And again, he's an insurance policy. You're not expecting him to get tons of playing time. He's an insurance policy behind Taj Gibson and Nerlens Noel. All right, so if one of those two guys goes down, then we have him here. Right? Brian Wilford, thank you for the super chat. He said, Sim, would you go after Dennis Schroeder in the offseason if Lonzo wants too much? I don't know. I definitely would have made a move to help the Los Angeles Lakers facilitate a trade for Kyle Lowry. I would have done that. But do I go after him right now? Do I go after him in the offseason? I don't think so. Like I said, I'm looking at Kyle Lowry. Even though I would have helped the Lakers, I would have traded for Dennis Schroeder to help the Lakers facilitate a move for Kyle Lowry at the trade deadline. I would have done that. Because Dennis Schroeder's contract is up this year. Okay, and we might have brought back he makes $15 million. We would have been able to fit him right into that $15 million slot. We probably would have moved Austin Rivers still. That opened up enough money for us to, fit him in that slot and still have $1 million left over or something like that. And maybe brought back a second-round draft pick. So I would have helped the Toronto Raptors to facilitate that move. And I do think the Knicks were talking with the Raptors and the Lakers on that type of facilitation, but it didn't come to fruition. That's something that I would have did or done, or however I want to say it. I don't know. But I don't think I would have looked at Dennis Schroeder as the long-term point guard for this team. I would have looked at him as a guy that we're bringing in that could help us right now. Now, this offseason, Kyle Lowry, I'm looking at Lonzo Ball. Kyle Lowry is another guy that I'm looking at in the offseason because I think that he fits right in with what we do and can help this team to step forward, move forward. I know he's 34 years old. It's coming down towards the end of his career. But I believe that Kyle Lowry can do for us what we've seen Chris Paul do for the Phoenix Suns. Another guy that I'd be looking at this offseason, I don't think he's going to be available. I think he's going to re-sign with Utah, but Mike Conley. I'd look at Mike Conley this offseason too. I think he's another one of those guards that's been there. He's been in battles, playoff battles, been around the league for a while, and he can help your team take a step forward, I believe. I think he's going to stay in Utah. I think he's found a nice home there. Utah is, right now, the best team in the Western Conference. I don't see any reason why he would leave. But those are the kind of guys that I'm looking at. I think that we need that veteran presence. My fear with Derrick Rose right now is he kind of offers that veteran presence, right? But Derrick Rose, when you look at Derrick Rose, when you really take a look, his injuries, he's not always here, right? He's not always there to play with you. And then when you look at his playoff history, he's been in the playoffs, but how many times has he really gone to the Eastern Conference Finals with the Bulls and those type of things? Once, maybe, I think. I don't know, something like that. So, he's a lot of times been injured during those playoff runs. So I'm not sure if he has that same experience that the Kyle Lowrys and the Mike Conleys have. They have a little bit different viewpoint of making those type of runs. So, those are the two guys that I'd be looking at, those two guys, as well as Lonzo Ball. And I know Lonzo Ball hasn't made that type of, those type of runs in the playoffs and been in those type of basketball games. But what I think is that with Lonzo Ball, because he's young, if I'm going to get an older guard, it's going to be a guy that has that experience. If I'm going to go with a younger guy, then I'm looking at a guy like Lonzo Ball. What do you think about that, Nate? What do you think about his question about Dennis Schroeder and then Kyle Lowry or Mike Conley or Lonzo Ball? What's your thoughts? Can't hear you, Nate. We can't hear you, Nate.
Sorry. When Dennis Schroeder turned down that extension, that told me he's wanting some mad money. I mean, he's wanting in the range of 20 plus a year, because I think the Lakers offered him 4 years, $84 million on the extension. He said no. So he's definitely looking to get paid more. He's definitely an upgrade over Peyton. Honestly, I don't think he fits what we try to do. I mean, he's more of an ISO type of dude. I really don't think he's a guy who's going to facilitate and get people involved. He's going to look to get his own. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's averaging like 20 points a game. So, I mean, on an individual level,
who's averaging 20 points a game?
I think Schroeder is.
I think he's maybe around 15 or something. I don't know if he's at 20, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying. He's
an individual. He's a stat guy on the individual side. I don't know how much he's going to be able to facilitate the offense. I'm with you, man. If Kyle Lowry is available, and here's the thing, if he's willing to come to New York and play with this young team, then I'm all for it, man. Kyle Lowry is a dog. I mean, he's a closer. He's a hell of a defender. He's always taking charges. He's a leader. I think he really would shape up some of these young guys. He'd take quickly under his wing. I love Kyle Lowry. I think he's a very underrated player. Like I said, if he would be interested in New York, there would be mutual interest on both sides, because Thibodeau, that's a guy Thibodeau would want to play for him, because he gives it all on the court.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Dennis Schroeder this season, he's averaging 15.4 points per game, 5 assists.
Shoot, I thought.
Yeah, 15.4, 5 assists. He's shooting up 43% from the field. He's shooting 32% from three. We'll see. We'll see what the Knicks decide to do this summer when it comes to making a move at that point guard spot. Tonight, though, the New York Knicks take on the Dallas Mavericks, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Mavericks. You know who's there. KP is there. Of course, you got Luka over there. Tim Hardaway Jr. is over there. So you got some former Knicks on that squad. I think Trey Burks or Burke, whatever it is still there. So there's some former Knicks on that squad. not that we have many players from those former squads, right? We got Frank Ntilikina. I think that's about it. That played with those guys. I think that's about it. But still, there's going to be a little bit of venom in the air. There's going to be fans at the Garden. KP's going to hear it.
Did you hear what he said about him missing New York?
Yeah, I heard what he said about him missing New York. Of course he's going to, of course he's going to say that. I don't think the fans miss him. Nobody misses KP right now. Nobody cares about KP right now. Mark, who's Mark does. Who's Mark is in that Booking.com video. Wherever who's Mark is, you know what? If you can't find who's Mark, you're going to be able to find him in that Booking.com commercial. How about that?
I'm wearing a KP shirt.
No, we wouldn't let him do it. We wouldn't let him do it. We wouldn't let him wear the KP shirt in the video. We said, no, Mark, you can't wear no KP shirt. Get out of here.
That's funny.
But tonight's game is going to be interesting. And here's another interesting tidbit about tonight's game. Not tidbit, but here's something else that's interesting about tonight's game that makes it a little bit scary for all of us. When we look at the injury report, and this was put out by the New York Knicks PR. RJ Barrett is questionable with a sprained right ankle. Derrick Rose is questionable with a sore left ankle. Of course, Mitchell Robinson is out with a right foot surgery. He's had right foot surgery. And now Reggie Bullock is questionable due to an illness for tonight's game. So, again, let me repeat this, ladies and gentlemen. RJ Barrett, he's questionable with a sprained right ankle. Derrick Rose, he's questionable with a sore left ankle. Mitchell Robinson is out due to right foot surgery. Reggie Bullock, he's questionable for tonight's game due to an illness. Yes, that scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. We need RJ Barrett. You know that already. We need RJ Barrett out there. And, for him to be out tonight, questionable does not mean it's out, but a lot of times questionable, so far what we've seen with the Knicks, it can go either way. If you're questionable, you could be out or you could be there. A lot of times it's a game time decision. We'll see what happens. But for us to miss RJ Barrett and Reggie Bullock, that means our starting lineup is going to be like, Alec Burks,
Knox, probably.
Frank Ntilikina or Knox. I'm thinking that he might go with Frank Ntilikina. How would you go with it, Nate? How would you go with that starting lineup? If RJ Barrett and Reggie Bullock is out, what are you doing with that starting lineup?
I mean, you're going to need scoring, so I definitely would probably go Burks and Knox, just because Knox got good size at the three, and he can shoot the three. Burks has been playing well. It's just the bench you're worried about now, because now the bench, you're going to have Frank, you're going to have Quickly, Toppin, Gibson. Yeah, the bench is that's gonna struggle, man.
Yeah, that is.
And Rose, yeah.
Right. That's definitely a tough one. I'd like to thank my guy Dominic for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to have Dominic in the building. Looking at, oh my goodness, man, looking at the lineups, I'm thinking that he'll go with Frank Ntilikina. Right. And really my thinking is that if he's going to be dealing with, if he's got to go that deep into his lineup, right, he might as well go with Frank, because Frank can, he's had some history at guarding Luka Doncic. Right? He's had some history there. And you've heard people, talk about how, he's had success guarding Luka, and all of that kind of stuff. So if I am the Knicks, I would go ahead and say, hey, all right, we'll go ahead and start Frank in place of Reggie Bullock. We'll start Alec Burks in place of RJ Barrett. And then you're looking at your bench, right? Then you got Quickly on the bench. You got Obi on the bench. Kevin Knox, I guess, comes in and gives you some playing time.
He has to.
Right? Who else is
Julius Randle?
Well, he's not on, but Julius Randle's not on the bench. But then coming off the bench, I'm not sure who you're bringing off the bench.
Those three guys you just
Quickly,
mentioned.
Kevin Knox, Obi, maybe Theo Pinson get some burn?
Oh, God, no. Gibson.
Taj Gibson. Okay, so you still got 4. You got 4 coming off the bench, and I guess he'll probably rock with those 4 then. Right? He'll probably rock with those 4. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's
I like the Ntilikina matchup. I think I agree with you, man. I've always said that Ntilikina is a good defender. You want to put him on one of your best players, especially with a guy with length like Luka. At least just frustrate Luka. If there's one thing about Luka that I can say, I mean, he's a hell of a player, but he gets flustered very easily. And if you can get under his skin and make him uncomfortable, he starts whining like a little baby, and he starts like playing like crap. And that's one thing Frank can do. Frank can get under his skin, make him irritated, and then he starts like just complaining all the time and gets him, just starts becoming real emotional. He's a very emotional player. If you watch him play, I mean, even when the good things happen, he's very emotional. So, get in his head and rile him up, and then see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see. Let me ask you, Dominic, if R.J. Barrett is out, if Reggie Bullock is out, how you feeling about that? You nervous?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling nervous. If both those guys are out, I don't feel like we're going to have a chance of beating Dallas. I feel like if both of them are out, they're both questionable, right?
They're both questionable for tonight, yeah.
Yeah. So if they're both going to be out, I feel like we're not going to be able to beat Dallas, I would say.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Those matchups will be difficult to deal with. Well, you know what? I'll say defensively, I think we would still be able to compete defensively. The problem is going to be on the offensive side, because you're talking about, obviously, R.J. Barrett gives you 17 points per game, right? But then, what Frank Kent doesn't do what Reggie Bullock does. And I know, there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, Reggie Bullock, all he does is miss threes and this, that, and the third and all of that. And I listen, I get it. I understand all of that. But there is a piece to the game that Reggie Bullock brings that Frank can't or does not. Right? Reggie Bullock is a guy that comes off screens, right? He can catch the ball off the screen and shoot it. He can, obviously he can knock down the three. We're hoping that Frank can knock down the three. He does a good job getting the handoff from Julius Randle, pulling up at that free throw line. And it's become such a part of our game that when we're missing it, it sends our offense off in another direction that we're not used to playing. You know what I'm saying? And I get afraid every time, because that's the type of team that we are. We're a team that is so much predicated on all of the little things that we do as a team, right? Like everything has to be clicking for the Knicks to be successful. The defense, the chemistry, the low turnover rate. Even though we don't pull a lot of threes, knocking down the threes when they become available to us, all of those things have to be working in concert together. And when you're missing a piece with a team like the Knicks, who don't have crazy talent, when you're missing a piece, you get a little bit nervous about how things are going to play out there on the floor.
Our margin of error is very, very low.
The margin of error is really, really low for this team. Really, really low for this team. And so anytime we're missing something, it scares us. You know what I mean? Which is that was the reason that I brought up about Mike Woodson the other day. Right? And, of course, I had some people say, some people disagree, which is cool. But, and not that Mike Woodson was the shot caller. Obviously, That's Tom Thibodeau, right? But, what he does bring to the team, only he brought to the team. And like I said, this is a team that needs all of its pieces to work together in order to be successful. You know what I'm saying? How are you feeling about KP matching up against? Do you think Julius Randle is gonna guard KP, or do you think it's going to be Nerlens Noel? What would you do?
Ooh. Well, KP just shoots threes from the outside now. He really doesn't play inside, but I think if Dallas is smart, they probably would play him more inside against Julius Randle, because Julius Randle's only 6'8".
But I don't think he's strong enough, though. I don't think he's strong enough. I mean, we've seen KP struggle against, small guards. So I just don't think that he's strong enough to deal with Julius Randle or to post up Julius Randle inside. I can't. It's hard for me to see that happening.
Honestly, this is just me, but I would put Nerlens on KP. Because they're both skinny people. Nerlens has got the ability to block shots and really, frustrate KP. And he can get out to the three. Whereas Julius is going to have a hard time tonight. I'll tell you right now, because he's going to probably be double teamed a lot. Without Barrett, I can see him then taking the ball out of Julius's hands and making somebody else beat him. So, and on the defensive end, you don't want Julius to get in foul trouble. And I could see Julius getting those cheap fouls on KP. So I would put Nerlens on KP and let Noel guard Finney Smith. Now Finney Smith's a little bit more of a finesse type of dude, but he's not a guy who's going to post up, Randle in the paint or anything like that. He's going to shoot threes or whatever. I think it'd be easier guard for Randle. But yeah, I think I would put Noel on KP. Because if you can take KP out of the equation, then you just force Luka to do everything. And if Frank's on Luka and Frank is making Luka's day of living hell, then, you got a chance. You really do. You got to stop the engine. You got to stop the engine, which is Luka. But if you let KP get off, then that's going to only make Luka more dangerous. So you got to take KP out of the equation. And sometimes KP takes himself out of the game.
Right. And another thing with Julius Randle guarding KP is that, like we were saying, KP likes to shoot that top of the key, that jump shot from the top of the key. He likes to pick and pop.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm a little bit nervous with the way that the Knicks defend that pick and pop. If you got Julius Randle guarding KP, listen, any person who's guarding KP, the way that the Knicks normally play it is you have Luka's going to have the ball in his hands. Whoever's defending Luka is going to, hit KP's screen. And then that big guy, whether it's Nerlens Noel or Julius Randle, they're going to go help out with the guard, right? And then KP's going to pop. And then that big guy is going to have to come from all the way, from helping out on the guard to try to stop KP. We're really going to need the weak side defenders to help out to make sure KP is not all alone at the top of the key shooting that three. This is something that we've dealt with from the beginning of the season. And it was a prime example when we played the Bulls. And Lauri Markkanen was killing us on the pick and pop. Right? It's something that I worry about tonight with KP. That he starts to kill us from that pick and pop.
And not only that, but you don't want to wear out Julius Randle. I mean, having to chase those screens and having to come over those screens. I mean, first off, he can get those crap fouls, but on top of that, I mean, he's gonna have to do it on the offensive end tonight. So you definitely want to give him somebody that he's not gonna have to chase around.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Finney Smith is better because Finney Smith just stays out for three. I mean, that's all he really does.
No, I get it, and I agree with you. I think that I don't want to see at least for most of the game. I don't want to see Julius Randle guarding KP, because he's going to have to deal with that pick and pop. Let Nerlens Noel deal with that pick and pop. Let the weak side defenders deal with that pick and pop. and yeah, if R.J. Barrett is out, a lot of that scoring load is going to shift over to Alec Burks. It's also going to shift over to, I don't want to say shift to Julius Randle because Julius Randle's already been a scorer, but we may need more points from Julius Randle. But Alec Burks got to show up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
RJ Barrett is out. Alec Burks has got to show up tonight. He's got to show up and put the ball in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? And I know people are going to hate for me to say this. They're going to hate for me to say it. They don't like it. But Peyton's going to have to show up tonight. We're going to need some buckets for Peyton tonight if RJ Barrett is out. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to need him to make those little mini joints in the lane. We're going to need it because we're going to be down a scorer. And then, of course, we're going to need Emmanuel Quickley to do his thing. We're going to need Emmanuel. This got to be a hot night for Emmanuel Quickley. Quickley had 0 points versus Minnesota the previous game. We're going to need Quickley to make sure that he's, listen, we'll be taking Alec Burks out of that second unit. Right? If both Reggie Bullock and RJ Barrett are out of the game, and Derrick Rose is not there either, we're going to need Quickley to score the ball. Need him to score the ball. Him and Elfrid Payton. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I know you don't like him, but this is what we're going to need in order to win this game tonight. It's what we're going to need. Taking a look at the lineups, ladies and gentlemen, possible lineups for tonight. The projected starters for the New York Knicks are, of course, Elfrid Payton, either Reggie Bullock or Alec Burks at the shooting guard spot, depending on if Reggie Bullock is out tonight. Either R.J. Barrett or Frank Ntilikina. I think it would be Frank Ntilikina, depending on if R.J. Barrett is out tonight, and then Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. For Luka Doncic, for the Mavericks, you got Luka Doncic at point guard. You got Josh Richardson at shooting guard. Dorian Smith. It's really Dorian Finney-Smith, but I didn't have a lot of real estate on my screen. At small forward, Max Kleber. At power forward, and then Kristaps Porzingis at center. And of course, what you're looking at is not the way that these guys are going to defend each other, because I do think if Frank Ntilikina is in that lineup, he'll probably guard Luka. Right? And then you'll have, everyone else shift onto who they guard. It's going to be a difficult one tonight, I think. And shout out to Marty Knicks. I didn't get a chance to get to his super chat yesterday. He said, my boy KP, the unicorn, is about to drop a career high on Randall. Psych.
Oh, my God.
That's all I got to say about that one. Psych. Eddie C, what's popping, brother? How you feeling? Can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you. Got to unmute yourself, my man.
All right. I'm good now.
Yeah, what's going on with you, bro?
In the chat, everybody at the panel. I'm taking a look at your projected starting lineups, and I'm thinking that, more than Elfrid Payton giving us buckets, Elfrid Payton's going to have to do a good job on Luka defensively. He's going to have to treat him like we treat Damian Lillard, like we treat all the other point guards that he's defended within the year. Mm-hmm. And have to do a good job, containing them. And that's where I think most of his value lies anyway. When we're talking about Elfrid Payton, if he's able to get under Luka's skin, I think we'll be fine. We'll be within striking distance, but it is going to be a tough game tonight, man. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a tough game tonight.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Elfrid Payton would be the one who gets the call on Luka. I guess we'll see. Who gets that call. I think if Frank Ntilikina is in that lineup, he probably gets the call. But let's say that Frank Ntilikina is not in the lineup, and we have our regular R.J. Barrett, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton, Nerlens Noel, Julius Randle. Who gets the call on Luka out of that lineup?
RJ.
I think if you're looking for position against position, it would probably be Reggie Bullock. But
Okay.
to be honest with you, I kind of like the way Alfred Payton plays defense against these sort of scoring guards. So I would like to see Payton on him, to be honest with you. I would like to see Payton start on him and see if he can get some fouls off of him, as in like pushes off, because Payton plays, chest up to the players. Something along those lines. Yeah, to be honest with you, I would like Payton to be on him. That would be my choice.
And here's the thing. Luka Doncic is, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right, but Luka is 6'7". Josh Richardson is 6'5". So, he's a little bit, Payton, I think, is 6'4".
Right.
Dorian Finney-Smith, he's 6'7".
Right. Size.
So they got a lot of, they do have some size, some length and some size. I don't know. Do you think that Tibbs would say, just the size matchup, would he put Payton on Richardson because he's 6'5", Payton 6'4", they're a little bit closer in height, and then have a Reggie Bullock on Luka or Finney-Smith, and then have R.J. Barrett? I wouldn't have R.J. Barrett on Luka because you're going to need R.J. Barrett to be a scorer for you. You want to give him someone who's not going to be as much of a threat on the offensive side. So I'd probably go with either Reggie Bullock or Alfred Payton, whichever one, and they're going to switch around anyway. Right? They're going to be switching around a lot anyway.
Most likely scenario is going to be Reggie Bullock because Tibbs likes to keep things simple, which I have no problems with. Just keeping it simple and matching up against Bullock and Luka seems like the most reasonable matchup. Another thing that I just thought about was you kind of don't want to get Payton in foul trouble, right? Because if we're not going to Derrick Rose, there's not going to be another point guard to back him up. Really, another cerebral point guard. I mean, we have Quickly and we have Ntilikina, but somebody that can set up the offense at least. So thinking about it now, maybe that's not the choice. But if everybody was healthy, if we had Derrick Rose at least, I would seriously think about putting Payton on Luka. Just for the simple fact that Payton is a fiery kid, and you kind of like need some of that when you're playing against these superstars. Somebody that's not going to back down, and not going to let just these players push him over, especially somebody like Luka, because he's a player. Once he smells blood, forget about it. You're done.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I think he would smell blood if he had Payton on him because he's such a big body and he loves to play in the paint. And I think he would just post up Payton the whole game.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely.
He probably would. He probably would look to post up Payton the entire game. It's going to be interesting to see how Tom Thibodeau decides to play these guys. This is the first time Tom Thibodeau with the New York Knicks is facing off against the Dallas Mavericks, or the first time this team right here is facing off against the Dallas Mavericks. So it's going to be interesting to see, the approach to this game. I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to go zone. I just haven't seen Tom Thibodeau go zone much at all.
But this one would make sense because with Luka's penetration and the fact is that he's still not a great shooter from the outside. I mean, he's gotten better. He's a streaky shooter. I mean, let's just be honest. When he's hot, he's hot. But when he's cold, he's cold. I mean, and you don't really have a defender. If Bullock and RJ are out, I don't know, man. I mean, I know Tibbs is stuck in his ways, but I definitely would think about playing some zone on.
The thing is, have you worked on zone at all? You understand what I'm saying? To be able to put it out there, you've got to been working on it at least a little bit, to throw it out there. Because if you haven't worked on the zone and you say, oh, you know what, we're gonna go out there and play some zone tonight, you'll get eaten up, I think, right? Because your rotations aren't going to be crisp. They're not going to be on point. The communication is not going to be there, to know who has to rotate in the event that they decide to overload one side of the zone or do whatever it is that, however they attack the zone. So, and listen, I don't know. Maybe they have been working. I can't say that they haven't. Maybe they have taken some time and worked on it a little bit. I just don't see Tom Thibodeau being the type of guy that wants to go to a zone. I've been calling for it all year long in certain situations. Obviously, he's not listening to me, but, I just haven't seen him, maybe every once in a while. There's a lot of times the man could look like a zone, but I just really haven't seen him go zone. Eddie, what do you think? Do you think Tom Thibodeau will ever go zone with this team?
If he does, I don't think this is a good team to do it with. Being that these guys are one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Zone is if you're a good shooting team, a zone is not for you.
But you're trying to take penetration away from Luka. That's why.
Part of the reasoning why you said zone was because you didn't want Luka to post up. You didn't think that would be a good.
I don't want him to penetrate, man.
Well, let me tell you something, Nate. Luke is one of the best penetrators in the league.
I get it. I understand it.
Teams haven't been able to stop Luke from penetrating. I don't think the Knicks are going to be, especially with being down as many bodies as we're down. I don't think it's going to be. It's not a good thing for us. So zone, I don't think is a great idea. Being that these guys can shoot over here, and where I'm from, when we play pickup ball, they like to play FIBA rules. I wouldn't say I'm a good shooter, but I like to shoot, and that's what I like to see when they play a zone. So that's not to me, that's not the best idea, especially that we haven't seen Tibbs do it in the whole year. This wouldn't be one of the teams that I would try it on. We're just gonna have a tough time. I mean, we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and know that we're gonna have a tough time with Luka. He's got Porzingis on his side. Porzingis looks like he's calm and he's ready. He's put things aside and he's ready to come and play and have a good game tonight in Madison Square Garden. I said it from before, even before we had these questionable tags come up, that I think it was going to be a tough game for us no matter what.
Right.
And I'm sticking to that. Obviously, me as a Knicks fan, I want us to have a win and I want us to play good, but this is just not a good matchup for us right now. Yeah, especially the way we're playing.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially with the way that we're playing. I think we are in, the team is maybe in a little bit of flux. I don't want to say flux, but questioning themselves again, because they know that they should have beaten. I mean, they had a 9-point lead versus Miami, a double-digit lead versus Minnesota, and they dropped both of them. And I think they're starting to question themselves about their ability to win in the fourth quarter, their ability to get it done in the fourth quarter. Right? That's another one of those small goals. That's my theme right now, especially for the second half of the season, is small goals. Right? So I think maybe I need to, and I might do just a little video about small goals too. Maybe they need to readjust. Maybe now their smaller goal is, let's get it done in the fourth quarter, because we haven't been getting it done in the fourth. Let's get it done in the fourth quarter. Now let's get back above 500 and get 3 games above 500, because we've yet to be 3 games above 500. And then let's get to a 4-game win streak. We've yet to go, win more than 3 games in a row. So those small goals as we're moving towards the playoffs, I think, is a way, for the Knicks to stay motivated, stay out there. I just want to add.
I want to add to that Quickly, he's been in a funk lately. You know what I'm saying? And we really need Quickly, man. We need his offensive punch. We need his fiery attitude. And he's just been in a funk, man.
We're gonna need him tonight.
Randall, even though his numbers, he's an all-star this year, so his numbers are always gonna basically be there. But I haven't seen the oomph from Randall lately.
Right.
And
teams are figuring him out.
I don't know if that's the injury. I don't know if it's the second half of the season. The minutes are getting down on him. I was one to say, I want to see how he comes out in the second half, because I'm a big law of averages guy, And if we haven't seen the player do it before, I just want to see him do it before I can anoint him 82 game player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Understood. And I think that the team is just missing some energy. I talked about that in that Lance Stevenson video yesterday. And Eddie, it was you. I was asking when we were talking about Lance Stevenson. I was like, somebody brought up Lance Stevenson. It was you. You know, we need some just an injection of energy from somewhere, because I feel like that's something that we're missing right now. We just need, you know, something to, you know, just spark that energy once again, because we do look like we're in a bit of a glaze right now. Mr. Durant, thank you for the super chat. He said half of Luka is worse. He said half of Luka is worse when he is off. You still get 25, 8, and 8. He said, so no zone. Right. And then Andre Carter, thank you for the super chat. He said, Sim thoughts about giving that last roster spot to LiAngelo Ball to steer Alonzo here this summer. He said that last spot isn't cracking the rotation anyway. Hey, you know what? I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know what they're gonna do with that last roster spot. Big shout out to everybody that's out there. Please make sure that you smash that like button for me, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, in about 20 minutes, I'm gonna steer you over to a premiere of a project that I did with Distant Moon Media and Booking.com. So 1 minute commercial. So I'm gonna steer you over to that at 5:30. It's a dope little thing. Is, you know, part one of a series of videos that have to do with New York City stories, New York stories. So make sure that you check that out at 5:30. I'm gonna steer you there. So at about 5:25, I'm gonna ask you to head over there. All right, so you can just check out that premiere, and then I'd like you to share it and comment and all of that good stuff. You know, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. It was done. It was really done nice, and you're gonna like seeing Tony Crow in there. Who's Mark is in there. My man Chester, who's in the chat. Chester is Chetnik. My man Chetnik is in there. So you're gonna like to see that. Let me get to a couple of phone calls, and then we'll break down some numbers between the two teams. Call you live. What's pop?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate you.
You know, I'm a little nervous about tonight's game. The math is kind of stacked, and we're not at our best as far as our lineup is concerned, as far as our roster. But the Mavs is a kind of a scary team. They're kind of hot right now, and I'm scared that, you know, to be honest with you, the Knicks will get it handed to them tonight. You know, so all the stuff you're talking about, you know, the matchups, you know, I don't think it's gonna make a difference. And the zone thing, that almost sounded will work, but he's right. You cannot use the zone against this team. They're such a good outside shooting team. One more thing I only can say about the newcomer who just came on, Pelle. He's just a good defensive player. So he's going to give us like another body, but he could block some shots, you know. He can't throw the ball in the ocean, but he could make some defensive, backup positions. He could give us some comfortability of being a backup center who could block some shots. So I just hope we can make another move, because you did mention about we still have a chance to make a move with the buyout. So I think we could put some tools and fuse together and maybe come up with another kind of player who could make a difference for us. And thanks, guys, for taking my call.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, Norvel Pelle, again, if you are just joining us, the Knicks signed Norvel Pelle. I guess that's how you say it. I'm not sure if it's Pelle or Pelle. I guess we'll find out. They signed him to a 10-day contract. He's a shot-blocking center, 7-foot shot-blocking center. Played for Philadelphia last year. Played a little bit for Brooklyn this season. And, you know, they signed him as an insurance policy. And I think they signed him for 10 days, understanding that April 9th is the day that teams need to, or players need to be bought out so that they're still eligible for the playoffs. So I think they're looking at that. They see that. They're like, you know, we'll see what happens in the next few days. So I think what they'll probably do is they might keep that roster spot open, that last roster spot. And if there's somebody that they want to sign, even if it's a center, they'll sign that player, and then they'll make a decision what to do with Norvel. So, I think they're probably looking to do it that way. That way they can, let's just say Kelly Olynyk gets bought out tomorrow. The Knicks can go sign him, still have Norvel on the team, and then make a decision on what to do with Norvel. So I think, that's probably what they're looking to do, because next week is when we'll likely see a lot of guys getting bought out if they're going to get bought out. As we get closer to that April 9th deadline. Taking a look at some of the numbers behind these two teams so far this season. The Mavericks average about 112 points per game. Look, we see a lot of teams that are in that range, and the Knicks normally hold those teams, to about 10 points below their average. The issue is if you're missing Reggie Bullock, if you're missing R.J. Barrett, right, then it's going to be a little bit tougher to hold those players, hold that team under their average, or that much under their average, because you're missing guys that can play defense. Reggie Bullock and R.J. Barrett, they're both big parts of our defense. So we'll see how our defense steps in missing those two guys if we're missing them tonight. That's another concern. The Knicks average 104.8 points per game. The Mavericks, they average about 43 rebounds. The Knicks are like 46. They're an ISO-heavy team. They average 22.7 assists per game. We average 21. They're at about 6 steals. We're averaging about 7 steals per game. We're both around 4.5 blocks per game. We average 13 turnovers. Last game, we turned the ball over a lot. And that was one of the big reasons that we lost that game. I think 17, 18 turnovers, critical turnovers at some critical moments of the game. We let that ball go. So that, we've got to have a better performance in the fourth quarter today if it comes down to that. 11.6 turnovers for the Mavericks. They take care of the basketball. The Knicks shoot 45% from the field. They shoot 47%. The Knicks shoot 37% from 3. They shoot 36%. Both teams, in that mid, average free throw shooting around 76, 78%. We average more points in the paint at 45. They average 43.7. Right? They don't have a huge post-up presence, that team. Luka can post up, though. They average 11.1 second chance points. We average 13. They average 12 fast break points, and we average 8. Of course, they're led by Luka in most categories. They're led by Luka in scoring, rebounding, and assists, just like the Knicks. Julius Randle leads the Knicks in scoring, rebounds, and assists. They don't have a huge shot blocking presence. Willie Cauley-Stein leads them in blocks at just under 1 per game, 0.8 blocks per game, and Nerlens Noel leads the Knicks at 2 blocks per game. And Taj Gibson's been doing a good job blocking shots as well. Last game, I think he had 3 blocks against Minnesota. He had a couple of blocks against Miami. He's been doing a great job blocking shots as well. He's done an excellent job filling in, but it's great to have Norvel back there, so, to give Todd some insurance. I'll be interested. It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. I believe Norvel is going to be the insurance policy. He's going to be on the bench, and he really won't play unless Taj or Nerlens Noel is hurt. But it will be interesting to see if Tom Thibodeau wants to put Taj on the bench and let Taj get the rest. We'll see. We'll see.
That's what I was going to.
Yeah,
I was going to say, Sam.
Yeah, the issue with it is that Norvel doesn't know what we do yet, so he's got to learn what we're doing first. Not that it's going to be tough for him to learn it, but he at least has to get ingratiated to the team before he can just step in.
Once he gets caught up, but once he gets caught up, you can you can preserve Taj, because you're going to need it for the playoffs.
That's true.
I mean, I would definitely play Pelle behind Nerlens. And, tell Taj, like, listen, we're going to need you for the playoffs. We're probably going to sit you for a little bit. And he understands. He's a pro. Right. He understands that he's going to get his time. But I would definitely preserve him because, like, Taj is 37 years old. You got to understand that,
The thing is, Tom Thibodeau trusts Taj Gibson. So think that makes a difference. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Yeah, getting back to tonight's game, I wouldn't mind. I know they're going to lose, and I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and I just can't stomach watching them lose. But, it would be better if they could have won the previous 2 games. I could swallow this loss, but hitting me in the head with 3 in a row, that, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I can't take it. So I'm contemplating about watching because I can't watch them. If I can't take the Knicks losing, man. So let's go back from years when I was a kid, since the 60s. I'm born 61. So, every time I used to watch the Knicks on WOR Channel 9, my mother knew when the Knicks lost because I would come out the room crying. She said, the Knicks lost, yeah, and she would pick me something, But that's how, to this day, I'll be 60 years old July. I'm still a diehard, can't take them losing. So, I'm thinking, man, if they could won those previous 2 games, I could swallow this loss, tonight. But, I'm just thinking ahead. But, I just can't watch it, man. So, that's my take. So I just want to get back to but one more point you made about Charles Gibson. I'm glad you pointed out to Tosh moves his feet. The last 2 games, he's been giving us some energy, block shots. He's been very, very valuable access to us. I got to give it to Tosh Gibson. He's been playing well, and I'm glad you brought that up. So that's all I want to say, guys. Look, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I'm rooting for them, but I swear, I don't think I can watch the game, man.
You got to watch the game, man. You got to support the team and watch the game. You don't know what's going to happen. You got to watch the game. Come on, man. You're a diehard Knicks fan. You got to watch the game. Win, lose, or draw, bro. You got to be there. Come on, man. Calling you live. What's popping?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on? How you feeling?
I'd like to talk about Emmanuel quickly.
Okay.
It seems like he hadn't been afforded the opportunity to do as well as he could because
kind of breaking up on me, my man. Maybe you can call me back on a stronger line because you were breaking up there. He wanted to talk about Emmanuel quickly. Emmanuel quickly is going to be essential for tonight, though. With so many guys down. And again, if you are just joining us, R.J. Barrett's questionable for tonight. Derrick Rose, he's questionable for tonight. Reggie Bullock is also questionable for tonight. And, of course, Mitchell Robinson is out due to a right foot surgery. So the guys that we have, Frank Ntilikina, Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox, if he gets some burn, Emmanuel quickly, these guys are going to have to step up, play defense, and score the basketball. It's going to be essential. Our bench is going to have to work because we'll be elevating. If these guys are out, we're going to be elevating Frank Ntilikina, Alec Burks to the starting lineup. You know what I mean? Any chance, though, let me ask you this. Any chance, Eddie, I start with you, that if those 2 guys are out, that Tom Thibodeau elevates Kevin Knox to leave Alec Burks on the bench?
To start Kevin Knox?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the route he'll take, but I do think Kevin Knox is going to get some run tonight if those players are out. Because if you look, just if we're comparing body types to somebody that can guard Luka, he's one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 6'9" player, and to be honest, he's been playing better defense. I've seen the little 5 minutes that he gets here and there, and he's trying really hard. So this would be a good test for him, even if he gets fouled, even if he fouls Luka, you know what I mean? Even if he crashes and burns, I think this is a real good test for him to see where he's at with the mental aspect of his defensive game. And so he can show Tibbs where he's at, that he can handle more minutes because everybody's fighting for minutes in this Knicks rotation, man. Nobody's really solidified their spots. And any given moment, your spot can be taken, man. And if he really wants it, this is a good game where he can show that. I really do think he can do that.
Right. And the reason why I say elevating Kevin Knox to that starting lineup is then that way you keep your bench intact, right? Or you keep some of it intact so that you're coming in with, a scoring punch and Alec Burks. But I mean, I don't see it happening. I agree with you. I don't see it happening. I think that he would probably stick with what he's used to, but or maybe it would be, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to find out tonight. Let me try this caller one more time. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about IQ.
Yeah. Let's talk about IQ for a minute.
I wonder if he's going to be afforded the chance that everybody else seems to get, and that they get a lot of playing time and get to develop over a 2-year period, such as JR. And I just don't think it seems like everybody's giving up on it, but I don't think that he might be in a slump, but the best way to get out of a slump is play your way out.
Yeah, now I agree with you. I mean, he is in a little bit of a slump, and I think maybe he's kind of hit that. I don't know. People say a rookie wall. Maybe not, or maybe it's just a dip. Just a little bit of a dip in play. He's a young player. He's going to go up and down. So he is vacillating between playing well and not playing well. We're going to need him tonight. I do think he will continue to get that chance. Tom Thibodeau, I think, is going to continue to put him out there, give him the chance. If he's playing well, he's going to keep him out there. If he's not, then he might get a quicker hook. If he's doing the little things, though, he'll be okay.
Really,
say that again?
A valuable player for you in time.
Yeah, I do. I think he's a really valuable player for us. I appreciate the call, my friend. I'm sorry, but I have to run, so I couldn't talk a little bit longer. We'll see, man. We're going to need IQ tonight. We're going to need Elfrid Payton tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like it or not, we're going to need him if the Knicks are down so many players. It's just the way that it is. Sorry to tell you that. Really quick, Eddie, any last thing you want to say before? I'm not even going to ask for a prediction. Just any last thing you want to say before tonight's game.
Yeah, with all these players that are going to be out tonight, somebody's going to have to step up. And if we're going to pull out this game, somebody that we're not accustomed to seeing having a good game is going to have to break out.
Yeah.
Be it quickly, be it Alec Burks, you know what I'm saying? Be it Obi. Hopefully it can be an Obi or a Knox. But one of these guys is going to have a 20-point game. Going to have a real good game tonight for us to at least sniff a win tonight. I hope we can do it, and I hope we can hold these guys to under 100 points, and that'll give us a shot to win the game tonight. Yeah. But besides that, man, just be ourselves. Just play like we've been playing all year, and if we keep doing that, good things will come.
Yeah, no doubt. Nate?
Yeah, it's going to be tough tonight. I mean, like you said before, I mean, even with healthy, it was going to be a tough matchup. Now it's even tougher if we're out Bullock and Barrett. Knicks just got to keep playing defense. I mean, and just pray that we can find some offense. I mean, that's going to be the hardest thing. I mean, we're already one of the lowest scoring teams in the NBA. You take away a 17-point score, you take away, 10-point score in Bullock or whatever. I mean, that's 27 points. I mean, who's going to make those 27 points up? We're hoping it's Burks. I mean, if Burks has a bad game, we're screwed. I mean, because Burks is probably the one guy that we can actually rely on for scoring. I would like to see if Tibbs is confident. I would like to see him put Knox in the starting lineup because I think we're going to need Knox's offense more than his defense. And as much as I love Ntilikina, you know how I love Ntilikina, he's not the scorer that we're going to need tonight. We're going to need Knox scoring, especially from the 3-point. So
yeah. That's going to be it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask you now, please, because I want everybody to see it. It's good. It's really good. The guy Ian Reedy did an excellent job producing this little director's cut commercial. Please, at the top of your YouTube chat, there's a link to New York Stories NYC basketball. And I'm putting the link in the YouTube chat right now. This video is getting ready to go live in like 2 minutes. So I'm asking everybody to just jump over there. Check this out. It's a minute-long commercial. As a matter of fact, the countdown is going to be longer than the commercial. Seriously. I'm serious. The countdown is going to be longer than the commercial. All right? But it's pretty dope. You can go over there. Get in there right now. You guys can, continue to talk about the game and everything that's going on. And probably, tonight I might air it on a post-game show or something like that. But I'd like you guys to go check it out right now. It's really dope. Really dope commercial. I just spammed my chat with it. I just put it again, it's pinned to the top of the live chat. All right. So I'm out of here. I'm heading over there to talk with everybody while the video is premiering. And I'll see you tonight, 10:15, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks play on NBA TV tonight. Obviously, if you're in New York, it's going to catch it on Madison Square Garden. If you're not, you'll be able to see it on NBA TV. And the game is at 7:30. I'll catch you later on tonight. Be peaceful, ladies and gentlemen. Spread love. And please, I will see you over at the commercial. Out of here.